Oh now, what it is, what it is. We out here. We gotta do a fight breakdown for a card that I'm not super excited about, but that's all right. It is what it is. We got UFC Fight Night. Lewis versus Teixeira. Teixeira in Nashville. So that'd be a cool spot to go watch some fights. I would think Nashville's a fun town, good music town. It's kind of become like the fucking bachelorette town of the USA, but capital of the USA, I guess. But either way, tomorrow, it's Saturday, July 12th at 8 p.m. Central Time. So a little bit earlier than the usual time for pay-per-views, but only by an hour. So it's not like we're really swinging a whole hell of a lot here. Let's scoot on down. There's a couple fights I'm interested in, but by and large, that's an alright card. I don't know, man. Nothing crazy. How many fights we got, though? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. What the fuck? All right, well, per usual, UFC site's jacked up. Nothing new. Moving on. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fights. I swear, dude. They're putting less fights on the card and worse fights on the card as these fucking things go on. To save myself from getting too spooled up on that, Fatima Klein versus Melissa Martinez. We'll just cruise right on through them. I'm not going to break down all of them per usual. I broke down all the main cards fights, but we'll kind of breeze right through them either way. Not super interested in this one. There's minus 1,200 favorite here, so you got to think if she doesn't go out there and get the finish, it's going to be a borderline disappointing performance for her. In women's fights, also, when I see real lopsided odds like this, I always am like tempted to sprinkle a little bit on the underdog, the huge underdog here. It seems like, I don't know, it seems like you hit that sometimes. Make a little dough, get a little return. My eyeballs are about to fall out of my head. So who cares? Mitch Ramirez, Mike Davis. Those odds are insane. I do think Mike Davis will win. It should be like minus 400 though. Minus 400. Maybe minus 500, not minus 1,000. That's ridiculous. Sometimes these things get just completely out of control. But I do think Mike Davis probably wins that fight. I think he's physically significantly more gifted than Mitch Ramirez. I think he's stronger and more powerful. Honestly, he's probably technically better as well. Not a huge technical gap, I wouldn't think. Maybe in the submission area, but physically, I think he's going to dominate Mitch Ramirez. Kennedy Nchukwu versus Walter Walker at heavyweight. It's a fun fight. Kennedy Nchukwu used to be a light heavyweight, moved up. Pretty dangerous strikers. Got okay grappling. It's not like super standout or anything like that. Then you got Walter Walker, who's Johnny Walker's brother. Pretty good grappler. Likes to do some wrestling, work a little ground and pound, a little jiu-jitsu. I think he has a couple of heel hooks, if I'm not mistaken. But okay fighter all around. Not the most exciting guy. He's no Johnny Walker, that's for sure. His brother is insane, and he's almost like a opposite. I guess they're the yin and yang of the Walker brothers. But fun scrap here. I kind of lean towards Walter a little bit. Plus 170. Oh, really? Okay. I think Kennedy has the edge in the striking, but Walter's a big old boy. If he gets Kennedy down and can dominate on the ground, we'll see, man. I'm a little tempted to take the dog on that one, to be honest with you. That's a competitive fight. We'll see. Lauren Murphy versus Eduarda Mora. Oh, Lauren Murphy, the Waffle House Queen returns. We haven't seen her in quite a while, man. Where am I nuts here? Has she not been gone for a long time? January of 2023, so 2.5 years. Holy shit. And she got beat by Jessica Andrade in a decision, which is a little wild. You would think Jessica Andrade would be able to finish her, but 41 years old, 16-6, 8 KO, 1 submission, 7 decisions. She's been knocked out once, 5 decisions. Mrs. Valentina beat the fuck out of her. How about old Eduarda here? And she's going against a 41-year-old woman. You would think go out there and put it on her. Yet she's still not a biggest favorite as either Mike Davis or Fatima Klein, which is fucking nuts. 31, Ronda, 11-1, 4 KOs, 5 subs, 2 decisions, and she's lost 1 decision to Denise Gomes. There's no Punk. It's a split decision too, so it's not, one judge gave it to her, clearly. Huh. Well, I would think Eduardo got there and fuck her up pretty good. Maybe go inside the distance or something. What kind of odds we got on Ash? Let's do method. Inside. 250. Hit that. And then we're going to go Walter, 175. Blim Blam, plus 863. How you like 'em apples? Boom. Melissa Martinez, plus 800. Holy shit. Could you imagine? Plus 8,500 odds. That would be absolutely insane. It'd be nuts. Anyways, moving on. We have Mr. Jake Matthews versus Chidi Njokwani. I wonder why this thing's always like lined up weird. I would have to like scroll a little bit lower. Huh. Either way, Jake Matthews, pretty good, pretty well-rounded fighter. Chidi Njokwani. There was a little bit of controversy at the weigh-ins. I need to go back and watch this. Supposedly he didn't make weight. Then they like deleted the video or something. And you know what? I wonder if we can find some shit on this right now. Did Chidi Njokwani make weight? Wow, okay. Here's a Reddit post. Someone says it's the 8th time Chidi missed weight at welterweight in his career. Njokwani made weight and they deleted footage of it. Let's go to Twitter. Let's see. Chidi Njokwani. Chidi weight. Well, that's looks like it's trending or something. 171.5. So UFC Africa still has it posted 8 hours ago that he missed. So did he fucking miss or not? Damn, everybody's going nuts on him on Twitter. I mean, it's all over Twitter. Let's see it. Oops. All right. He's got the shorts off. I don't know why the camera won't line up right. Whatever. Let's move it up a hair. Yeah. Damn. What a bum, dude. Get him out of here. Anyway, so apparently he did miss weight. No, I don't know. No denying that one. Dude fucking read it out loud and everything. Either way, I guess in that case, I'd like to see Jake Matthews win. Chidi's no punk, though. Good striker. Decent grappling. Pretty heavy-handed, actually. So we'll see. Then the main fight of the prelims, we've got old Max Payne Griffin versus Chris, the Action Man Curtis. I like Chris Curtis quite a bit. At welterweight, I wish he would have been fighting a little bit earlier in his career at welterweight. If I'm not mistaken, he was doing middleweight for quite a while. Let me see here. I think Chris Curtis, especially a younger Chris Curtis, actually dusts Max Griffin. Now that he's getting a little bit older and slowing down, Max Griffin probably make this a little more competitive than I would like. 2 losses in a row. Roman Kopylov, I think that was a middleweight fight. Brendan Allen was middleweight. Yeah, so he's going down. Interesting. Max Payne Griffin, 39 years old, 20-11. What are the odds on that? Minus 325. Minus 300 on here. I'll take him with a money line. Max Griffin really hasn't been KO'd very often or anything. I mean, it's one time in his entire fucking career. Action Man hits pretty hard, but I don't know that he's gonna knock Max Griffin out. I would take him for the win. I think he's probably the stronger of the two, probably a little more explosive. He's a little younger too, actually. So yeah, I'll take Max Payne. Or not Max Payne, Chris Curtis. Getting all twisted up here. First fight of the main card here. We got Junior Tafa versus old Tuco Tacos. Let's check out the odds on these boys. Actually, I need to change my Spotify jams here too while I'm at it. Turn that down a little. There we go. Let's see. Mr. Tafa, Mr. Tokos. So Junior Tafa is coming down, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, light heavyweight. He was fighting at heavyweight before, what is he not? Volta Walker, yeah, that was heavyweight. Marcus Rogero de Lima was heavyweight. Oh yeah, there you go. So I was saying earlier, Volta Walker, if I'm not mistaken, was one of his submission wins was by heel hook, and there you go. It was Junior Tafa who he did it to. 28 years young though, 6-3, not the most stellar record. I mean, batting at a .5. 6 knockouts or 6 wins, all by knockout. And he's been knocked out once, subbed once, and 1 decision. Who knocked him out? Oh, it was leg kicks. Yeah, crushed him and then like kind of GMP'd him when he went down, if I'm not mistaken. Interesting. What about old Tokos here? Let's see what he's got. 35, so he's a fair bit older than Mr. Tafa. 10-5, 6 knockouts, 2 subs, 2 decisions, 2 knockout wins, 1 submission win, 2 decisions. Decision win over Navajo Sterling's not bad. Oh, decision loss over Navajo Sterling, excuse me. 2 Navajo Sterling. Lost to Umar Sai. Oh, damn, submission face crank. All right. Well, he's a little bit older. He's been fucking blasted twice by knockout. When was it? Oh, Ming Yang Zhang. All right, well, dude's no slouch. That's nothing really to get upset about. Ty Guerder back in 2020 knocked him out with a TKO, a punch and knee. Interesting. Well, I guess that kind of leaned towards Tafa. Oh, yeah. Minus 162. So that's about where I would split those odds. I only lean towards him a little bit. Not super sure on this one. I don't know much about Tokos, however you say it. So I wouldn't go hard on that bet. Just, sprinkle it in there. Let's sprinkle them in. 18,244 odds now. Good grief. I wonder if we should move that up just a hair further. It's still a little bit too far down, I think. Yeah, let's move it up just a smidge. Just about like there. Clearly the UFC site is jacked up. The next fight is supposed to be Vitor Petrino and Austin Lane, and they have it all squarely on here, so we'll just look at it on SureDog. This is the first fight that I actually broke down. Vitor Petrino, a lot of hype around this dude. He's 27 years old, built like a brick shithouse. He was coming in, a lot of steam, a lot of hype behind him, and kind of got derailed. I think he's had, 2 losses in a row? Yeah, Dustin Jacoby and Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith, that one was fucking wild. Vitor was not doing horrendous, and then out of nowhere, it's like he just completely shit the bed, lost his game plan. He was getting jabbed up by Anthony Smith, throwing big shots and not really landing a whole lot. Then Anthony Smith would back up against the cage, shell up. Vitor would start wailing on him, and then it was fucking weird. And then he shot a pretty lazy naked takedown attempt, pretty high on the hips, and left his head up. It's kind of in a middle position. You either want to be all the way up or kind of shrugged or something. You gotta tuck your chin, do something, dude. Instead, he more or less shot straight up, straight through there. Kind of had his head out there, and old Anthony Smith, black belt in jiu-jitsu, locked that shit up and submitted him by guillotine choke. That was really what started the derailing of the hype train. And then Dustin Jacoby, they were in a shootout. Jacoby popping the jab like he normally does. Vitor throwing big shots, big winging punches, and Jacoby beat him to the punch one time. If I remember right, it landed an inside straight or an overhand type, kind of came inside one of Vitor's big winging hooks and just fucking folded him. So hype train was a little bit derailed. Dude's a beast. 7 knockouts, of course, 1 submission, 3 decisions, been KO'd the one time by Jacoby, and then, of course, like I said, has the 1 submission loss to Anthony Smith. He's young, so he can still develop. He's just a big bruiser, dude. I think he kind of has been getting by a lot on physicality, and now that he's in the upper echelon where people are actually technical, he's starting to get exposed a little bit. You got Austin Lane, who I think people sleep on a little bit because he doesn't have the most stellar, super exciting performances sometimes, but I think he's a decent fighter. He beat Robelos to Spain, which is nothing to shake a stick at. He was able to stay safe against a really explosive guy and work a pretty decent fight IQ. Or a pretty, he displayed pretty decent fight IQ and had a pretty decent game plan, was able to work it. Decent takedowns. I think Vitor's probably the more physically gifted of the two, and he's quite a bit younger. Given that Austin Lane's been knocked out 6 times, you got to think Vitor might land the big shot at some point. maybe just 2 years ago, I think Austin Lane would actually be able to pull this off potentially. Whoops, wrong one. Vitor Petrino inside the distance minus 400. Good God. All right, we're doing it. So we're at plus 22,000 odds. So $1 would win you $228. I just think Vitor is the younger guy, that's more explosive, more physically gifted. Both of them are going to gas a little bit. Austin Lane might actually have a little bit better of a gas tank, but I just don't know that he's going to be able to hang around long enough that it's going to matter a whole lot. Petrino, maybe not the most technical striker, but I do think he might land the big one on Mr. Austin Lane, given the tenacity I think sometimes makes up for the technical skill, and Austin Lane doesn't get out of the way too well sometimes. Little black cherry propel. Anyway, moving on. Probably, I don't know, fight of the night potential, depending on how Nate Landwehr looks. But Nate Landwehr versus Morgan, the Last Pirate, Chartier. Super fun scrap. I'm a big Nate Landwehr fan. Unfortunately, I think he's going to have his hands full. We'll put it that way. Fun fighter, though. Nate Landwehr is from Tennessee. So it's kind of my neck of the woods. He's plus 220 underdog here. I'm honestly surprised he's not a little bit higher than that. I would almost put him at like a plus 300, but pretty good striker, decent grappler. He's a gritty dude. Honestly, that's probably his biggest attribute is his grit, his toughness, willingness to engage in the firefight. Decent hooks, got a nice little front kick, does a little leg stomp sometimes. Just unfortunately not the most technically sound, and really in his last showing, he went against Doo-Ho Choi and looked kind of fucking awful, truth be told. He didn't really land a whole hell of a lot. Almost nothing. The KO win over Jamal Emmers was pretty nice. Back, I think it was like last March, April, something like that. I think it was Dan Ige before that, too. I got the freaking shirt all right here. Let's see. That Doo-Ho Choi fight, though, man, he just looked awful. Just flat-footed. Didn't have the usually it seemed like he's kind of a tit for tat guy. Like you sting him a couple times and that's it. It's like go time. He's wanting to get in there and trade with you. And it just seemed like he didn't have anything for Doo-Ho Choi. He was landing uppercuts at will, jabs at will, landing big shots, and Nate was just standing there. And I think, unfortunately, a guy like Morgan Chartier, the Last Pirate, is probably going to do a lot of the same. Now, his record, not the greatest, 20-11, but he's got 12 knockouts, 3 submissions, 5 decisions. Those 12 knockouts, I think, are going to be the telling factor. He's lost by 10 decisions, so he's been subbed once, but he's not going out there and getting finished by a whole hell of a lot of people. That fight against Nathaniel Wood, too. Nathaniel Wood's super good, dude, and Morgan Chartier was not completely out of that fight. I think Nate Landwehr has a potential chance to turn this around. Like, if this fight goes third round, Morgan starts getting tired, maybe Nate starts mounting a comeback. I don't know that's going to happen. I think Morgan's probably going to have a speed advantage, probably a power advantage as well. Relatively comparable power, but Nate has to, I think, put a lot more in it to produce the same power, whereas Morgan's more technical and can reserve a little bit in the tank while landing the cleaner shots as well. So yeah, I just think Morgan Chartier gets it done. I think he's better in just about every facet. His grappling is actually pretty good too. The dude's got good hips, good sprawl. Was able to turn it around a couple times against Gabriel Miranda, if I recall correctly, who kept going for takedown and is like a pretty decent grappler in his own right. Sprawled several times. That was one of the things that impressed me the most. Dude's got really good hips, decent clinch game as well. Nate likes to get in the clinch sometimes and throw them hooks. I just don't know that he's going to land much or that he's going to have the power or sting to do much to Morgan. Let's do Morgan straight up. What is he inside the distance? Plus 180 is not bad. Let's get that minus 270 out of there. Plus 64,000 odds. So let's put $10 on it. Take home 6,400. Could you imagine, dude? God, that'd be sick. That would be sick. Yeah, going Morgan Chartier. Next, Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. This is a fun scrap here. This is a real fun scrap, too. Mr. Calvin Kattar, 23-9. I think he's 38. 37. March 26, 1988. 23-9, 11 knockouts, 2 subs, 10 decisions. Lost once by KO, once by sub, and 7 decisions. Most recently coming off a decision loss to Yusuf Zalal. I don't know. That was an alright fight. Yusuf Zalal kind of peppers dudes and then runs away for most of the fight, so it is what it is. Aljamain Sterling. Oh, get the hell out of here. Aljamain Sterling kind of did what he does as well, which is backpack people, take them down repeatedly, get to a dominant grappling position, and then manhandle them. So, again, it's kind of hard to fault Calvin Kattar for that one. I don't think Steve Garcia is as good a striker and running away at Yusuf Zalal, and I don't think he's as good at grappling and dominating backpacking as Aljamain Sterling. But I do think he's very tenacious. He's almost like a Nate Landwehr, honestly, with a little more pop, and he's younger, so he still kind of has the scrap. Calvin Kattar, I would say, is probably the more technical boxer. He's a pretty good wrestler as well, but I think the wars are starting to add up a little bit. He's had a pretty rough career. I just think the mileage is starting to catch up a little bit to him, whereas old Mr. Steve Garcia, Mr. 17-5, 14 knockouts, 3 decisions, KO'd once, subbed once, 3 decision losses, but he's on a hell of a tear. 5 win streak, 5 finishes, all by KO or TKO. Just absolutely blasting people. He's a southpaw. Got a real aggressive style, kind of blitzes people. He's got like a weird power. He's dropping dudes, but I don't know if it's that he's just crazy powerful or if he's just landing real clean on them. I think it's more he's landing clean and catching them right on the button, setting them down. I think Calvin Kattar is probably the more technical striker here, actually. But does Steve Garcia blitz him and hurt him and put him away? I don't know, dude. Calvin Kattar's actually got a decent chin. What are the odds on this? I'll take the 107 Calvin Kattar. We're at 132,000 odds now. $1 will win you 13.28. 13.28. That's insane. Whoops. Moving the screen around a little bit. That's a tough fight, though. You feel free to fade the shit out of that one. Man, I almost lean towards Garcia, but I'm gonna go with Calvin Kattar here. I think he's a better striker. I think if he can stay on the outside and pepper Garcia with the jabs, land the cleaner strikes, the straight cross, maybe some leg kicks to slow him down a little bit, but just stay safe, shell up, back away. I don't know that Garcia is going to be able to out-grapple him. So we'll see. We'll see. Next, co-main event of the evening, we have the return of Wonder Boy against Gabriel Bonfim. He's going to have his hands full, dude. Wonder Boy, though, Stephen Thompson, is the fucking man. 42 years old. Got to be about done, which is a bummer. Stephen Wonder Boy Thompson has been a favorite of mine for basically his entire career in the MMA world. I didn't watch all of his boxing. His kickboxing. I've since gone back and watched a lot of his kickboxing. And he was a freaking phenom. He was like 54-0 or some goofy shit. 17-8 in MMA. 8 knockout wins, 1 sub, 8 decision wins. Been knocked out twice, 1 sub, 5 decisions. Most of those finishes, unfortunately, have been of late. His more recent losses, there for a while, he was just unstoppable, it seemed like. Karate style, one of the only guys who's implemented that style successfully in the UFC and in the MMA world, at least to that level. Very good side stance, got a great side kick to the body, goes upstairs with it. Great jab, great straight punches, decent hooks as well, especially when he's like fading away from you. He'll throw them hooks, drop you. He's got a jab, brings the kick up over the shoulder. That's fucking sick. Just all around nasty, dude. Got a wheel kick Jake Ellenberger. Looked that up. That was like the sickest thing ever. Especially somebody made a highlight, of course, of Jake Ellenberger making fun of karate. He's like, oh, karate? Yeah, that's cool. Or that's cute, or whatever he says. And then it flashes to Wonder Boy wheel kicking him into fucking oblivion. But, unfortunately, getting a little bit older. He's 42 years old, starting to slow down a little bit. And his style, I think, is pretty reliant on his reflexes, his fast twitch muscle, and his speed. And all that stuff is, unfortunately, starting to go to the wayside. He's going against a young, hungry lion. 15-year age gap between these guys. Gabriel Bonfim, 27 years young, 17-1, 3 knockouts, 13 submissions, 1 decision win, 1 KO loss. That's it. Most recently coming off a Bravo choke of Kalen Williams, decision win of Angalusa. Did get TKO by Nicholas Dalby. I think Wonder Boy is pretty clearly going to have the striking advantage here. Is he going to be able to pepper Bonfim and stay away the entire time? I don't know. Bonfim is going to have a pretty dominant grappling advantage. Wonderboy's not bad at keeping dudes on their feet, though. What are the odds? Oh, my God. 591, 319. Could you imagine? We're doing it. $1 wins you $6,000. It's kind of one of those. Bonfim, if he gets him down, he could maybe latch up a submission or something like that. You could always take him by sub plus 140 and hedge it. I do think Wonderboy's the better striker, though. I think he can stay away from him and maybe pepper him up and then win a 3-round decision. It wouldn't surprise me if we see it. Wouldn't surprise me. Wonderboy's the man. He takes care of himself, trains right. Bonfim has not blown me away with his striking yet. I mean, obviously his record is kind of indicative of that. He very much favors the grappling, but his wrestling is not on a level that I'm just not sure that he's going to be able to get Wonderboy down and keep him down. If he does, if he can get his back or something like that, he could latch up a submission, which is why I think you would hedge it that way. But it wouldn't surprise me if we see Wonderboy pull off some kind of goofy-ass win here, dude. I'm sitting here talking myself into it. It's kind of funny. All right. Main event of the evening, heavyweight bout. We've got the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, 28-12, going against Teixeira, 8-0. Let's take a look here. Black Beast, I think, has the most knockouts in the UFC. Yeah, 23 knockouts, 1 submission, 4 decision wins. 40 years old now. He's got 7 knockout losses, 2 submission losses, 3 decisions. Most recently, he got TKO win against Rodrigo Nascimento. I think that was in the old St. Louis, wasn't it? That was the one here. Yeah, May of last year. That was it. Fun fighter. Crazy striking, obviously. Very heavy-handed. Kind of got a slick, kind of sneaky style at times where he's landing stuff that you don't necessarily see coming, which is, I mean, obviously what you want. But he'll fake like he's hurt and lean over and then throw a big shot at you and blitz you kind of and do a lot of unconventional shit. But Derek Lewis is the man. Legend in the sport. Crazy power. Not the greatest grappling. Gets taken down. But everybody jokes about his jiu-jitsu. He kind of just has this ability to just get up whenever he decides he wants to. Like, you know, he's tired, and all of a sudden he's just like, all right, fuck it, I'm done, and just gets up, which I've always appreciated. Going against the guy in Teixeira. I don't know a ton about this dude. He's 25 years old, 6'8", he's a big bastard. He's got 8 wins, which is 7 by knockout, 1 submission. Most recently, he's got the TKO win over Justin Tafa, which pretty decent size advantage there. I don't know anything about this Arthur Lopez guy, but not really battle-tested yet. He's not fought any names. It's one hell of a jump to go from Justin Tafa to Derek Lewis. What are the odds here? Derek Lewis, plus 250. I'll fucking take those odds. Dude's obviously way, way younger than Derek Lewis, so he's probably going to win, but they won't even give me those odds. That'd be probably railroad robbery if they would give me that. I couldn't imagine. Either way, though, don't think this guy has faced the level of competition that Derek Lewis has, so maybe he'll pull out some savvy veteran moves. Has, 40 fights to this guy's 8? You would think some of that huge gap of experience would come into play here, but I guess it just depends on what level of Derek Lewis shows up. If he shows up in shape, competitive fight. If he shows up 40, sloppy, not really in it to win it, Taliesin will probably take this. So you could always hedge it with Taliesin inside the distance. Let's see. Taliesin inside the distance, minus 250. What's in my sub? Taliesin by sub, plus 750. Take that. When was his last submission? Oh, no, it was 2021. I was going to say maybe he'll get on top and get a submission, but maybe not then. KO, minus 175. Inside the distance, you're not really getting that much better odds, unfortunately. What's the under? Ooh, maybe just play the under. Just play the under, 101.5. Maybe they'll just go out there and get after it. Make a fun fight. But, yeah, I guess that's it. That's it for UFC Fight Night. Lewis versus Teixeira. A little bit shorter of a breakdown, and I'm not super jazzed up about this one. Maybe we'll do some drama, cover that shit, whatever's coming up in the coming weeks. But next week, we have a big pay-per-view. UFC 318, Holloway versus Poirier. We have Max. Dustin Poirier is the main. Paulo Costa, Roman Kopylov, Kevin Holland, Daniel Rodriguez, Dan Ige, Pitbull, Patricio Pitbull, Michael Johnson, Daniel Zellhuber, Kyler Phillips, Vinicius Oliveira, Lock Dog, Marvin Vettori versus Brendan Allen, Francisco Prado versus Nikolai Veretnikov. That's a fun fight right there. Arteba Gautier versus Robert Valentin. Adam Fugit versus Islam Julatov. Jimmy Crute versus Marcin Prachnio. Ryan Spann versus Lukasz Brzeski. Bruno Ferreira. Jackson McVeigh. Carly Judice? I don't know. Judas. Versus Nicole Cagliari. So, okay card. Not the greatest pay-per-view of all time, but we'll get on the research for that and try and get this one out a little bit earlier. Thanks for watching, folks. Like, follow, comment, subscribe, all the other bullshit. We'll see you a little bit later. Peace out.